everyone. It is July 17th. It is a Thursday. I know that just by the skin of my teeth, we are doing our very best here today. I am Jamie Steyer Johnson alongside a very tan, a very relaxed, a very out of the loop Chelsea Leite. And we're here on the Her Hoop Stats podcast, our last regular episode of the week before we get some live. Well, it won't be broadcast live, but it'll be boots on the ground.
There we go.
In-person correspondence from a couple other members of the Her Hoop Stats squad in Indy this weekend. But in the meantime, Chelsea's in Canada, I'm in Iowa, and we're here talking to you guys.
Yeah, just barely in Canada.
Yeah, Chelsea is recently back from vacation, and so we are gonna maybe catch up on some of the All-Star Weekend festivities, some of the updates, give some of our own thoughts, give some of our own takes, most of which I assume at this point will be woefully out of date by the time we publish in like a couple hours, because I mean, immediately anymore, if I talk about someone, there will be specific news about them by the time the episode is released. This has become an extremely consistent pattern. Happened for Julie Von Lowe. Happened for, I don't know. There's been other ones. I'm not going to sit here and list them because that would require remembering what I said more than 3 minutes ago. I digress. Chelsea, we have some updates on All-Star, and then we have some maybe ideas, some pitches to make regarding them. Obviously, number one being that Caitlin Clark is out for the All-Star game and the 3-point contest. Satu Sabali is also out for the All-Star game. Ryan Howard was ruled out a little bit ago, and so Kayla McBride has been slotted in her place. But we've got a front court spot and a guard spot in the game, as well as a 3-point contest spot to be filled. So part of it is this is very late in the game, obviously. Tomorrow, Friday, is the 3-point contest, and then the game itself is Saturday. So there's definitely going to be some logistical challenges to filling these spots. Let's start with if there were not logistical challenges, if it could be anyone who you would like to see in any of these. And then we'll get into the reality of the situation and what we might see actually happening.
Yeah, well, first of all, I am fresh off of vacation. I landed back in Toronto in the middle of the night last night. So running off a little bit of sleep, but I am, like you said, tanned, very itchy from mosquito bites, and just ready to hit the ground running for All-Star Weekend from home. But yeah, so if you tell me anything and I'm slightly shocked, I tried to keep somewhat tapped in while I was in Cuba, but inevitably I was on vacation, so whatever. But yeah, All-Star Weekend, I mean, and like it happens every year where people get injured and they have to replace people. The logistics of that is that Kathy Engelbert is going to choose them, and so that is the context that should be taken into account when we think about who may be chosen. But the first person who comes to mind for me is Brittney Sykes, if there were no logistics to think about. I mean, everybody was kind of surprised that she, was snubbed of an All-Star to begin with. And then we're also shocked that, from what I could see anyway, that she wasn't the replacement for Ryan Howard, and that it was Kayla McBride. Not that Kayla doesn't rightfully deserve it as well, but Brittney Sykes has just been a name up there when it comes to All-Star nominations for a lot of time, weeks even. And so, I think she would be probably my first choice. And then after her for the guard position, I'd probably say Natasha Cloud is up there as well, as someone who has just been playing really well in her role in New York this season. And also, if you want to think about team record and standing and all that stuff, I mean, New York has the edge there over Washington as well. And then in the front court, oh man, that's a little harder just to come up with people at the top of my head who have been playing well.
I can give you mine if it would help.
Yeah, go for it.
So, I mean, to me, there's a couple of pretty easy front runners that have already been discussed ad nauseum as kind of snubs. Number one being Brionna Jones, who's been one
Oh,
of the
shoot.
most
Okay, yeah.
efficient, effective players in the league. Was pretty shocking to not see her get an All-Star nod. And
Mhm.
then again, considering that there are logistical issues, you want to have a few different options. And so I also would have no problem whatsoever with Azare Stevens jumping in.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
think that she's someone who certainly deserves recognition for what she's done. As I mentioned on an episode last week, like what she's done as far as her contributions to an LA team that has certainly struggled at times, but to have a win share that's very nearly 50% of your team's entire wins for the season when you're not even averaging like crazy numbers in any one category. She's just under 15 points per game. She's not averaging like a double double or anything. She's just been so efficient. I definitely think that Azare would be another great option. Or Dearica Hamby has been
Mm,
very efficient, has been someone who is obviously scoring quite a bit, doing just a little bit of everything. So a handful of, I think, really good options there in the front court.
yeah.
I definitely would not have a problem with any of those, but it's just about, okay, who's going to get there? Who's going to have the ability
Or
to? And
who's
so that
already
then
there.
who's already there is definitely a big one as well.
Yeah, because they have like there's a few of them there for the 3-point and the skills contest. There's also a really big meeting today between the players and the league in terms of CBA negotiations. So a few of them are there for that today, who wouldn't normally be there if that wasn't happening. And yeah, I mean, you said Azare and you said Bree Jones, and those were two that before when the All Stars were announced that I definitely thought, okay, yeah, those were snubs. So, obviously my brain is still on vacation time and I kind of forgot those at the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, it's like an interesting way that they do this in both the NBA and the WNBA, where the commissioner picks the injury replacements. And so we'll see who she ends up picking. But yeah, it's there's factors. I mean, when you think about the fact that this is really the only break that these players have in the entire season, a lot of them were, off the grid immediately as soon as they were relieved of, their duties whenever their games were done. So some of them might not even logistically be able to make it to Indianapolis in the time that they should be to be able to play in the game. And who knows? Maybe they don't want to. That's another
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I know we definitely could say that a lot of players would want to be an all-star and do that, but I mean, some may not, and so that's their choice. But yeah, I mean, definitely looking forward to seeing who slides in there. And I mean, it's an interesting kind of thing to be called an all-star injury replacement, but still makes you an all-star no matter, how you get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I recall now that on Friday I also was talking about how Kayla McBride, it could be really good for her that she gets a little bit of a break, even though she was an all-star snub. And then literally that afternoon she was
Yeah.
announced as the injury replacement for Ryan Howard. So
There you go.
we'll certainly manifest something crazy by having this discussion. But
For
I
sure.
do think that it's very notable that between the skills challenge and 3-point contest, only two of the players currently in that are not all stars playing on a team, and
Yeah.
those are Natasha Cloud and Erica Wheeler. So I do
Yeah.
think that those would be a couple of potential front runners to slot into the All Star game. And then when you look over at the 3-point contest, again, you're kind of thinking about who's already present, who already is there and able to slot in fairly easily. And so I've seen quite a bit of discussion about potentially trying to replace Caitlin with one of her teammates for the 3-point
Mm,
competition, just to, have a little bit more of that appeal to the
so
local area. And obviously, there's plenty of people who are shooting extremely well. And so you would have Kelsey Mitchell already there for All Star, but you may have, Lexi Hull if she hasn't
Lexi, yeah.
decided to go somewhere else. She's shooting the
Mm,
fifth best percentage in the league right now
that
on
would be fun.
62 attempts. And so that would certainly be a great choice. I think a fairly simple choice if she's around. And
Paige
so
Bueckers could be another one too that they could slot in there.
Yeah. So if you go away from the Fever option, you definitely could be looking at Paige Beckers, who's going to be there anyway. You've got, I mean, a whole bunch of options of people who are shooting really well that are in the All-Star game already. So it'll be interesting, I think, to see, because they're going to have to make these decisions really quickly. They're coming up, and so hopefully this is something that has kind of been planned for, known in the back of a lot of these decision makers' heads, saying, okay, we're going to have a decision eventually, and so we have these people lined up ready to go if that ends up being something that they can't participate in. So I'm excited to kind of see who else gets the opportunity here. Obviously, it's disappointing when people are injured, but when you have these aspirations over the course of a season, being healthy and being available for the actual games as opposed to an exhibition game is far and away the priority. And so, especially when you have, Caitlin's had these recurring nagging injuries, you can't mess with that. You've got Ryan, who was hurt, came back, got hurt again. Like this is just not something that you can risk, especially with teams that really need these players, but have been doing a lot and have a lot of potential in front of them. And so I'm glad to see that they're prioritizing their health, but it'll definitely change things up. I'll be just excited to see what they end up doing with it. There's already been events going on. I mean, obviously, very notably, the event of the season, perhaps, is the 72-hour Stud Budz live stream.
I just saw on my feed right now that they ran into Kathy Engelbert on the street.
Oh my gosh, I missed that. I was watching earlier today as they stopped over for the Changemakers event, and
oh my God, I love
Courtney was there speaking to young people taking part in some of the little clinics they were doing. She jumped in to do some dribble relays and was telling all of the kids that she doesn't mess around and she's not going to take it easy on them. And then proceeded to not realize that it was a relay and not just a race, and ran down and just kind of stood there for a second looking around, and then was like, oh, I have to go back. Said that she's practicing for the skills challenge there.
There you go.
She's getting all the nerves out.
Oh my goodness.
With their freshly dyed pink hair. So they're certainly doing the thing.
They're doing the thing. They were taking shots this morning at 10 a.m.
They're taking shots this morning. I first of all desperately need a live feed from court during the All-Star game itself.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The other thing is, I don't know. I just don't know that we could afford to have Natisha jump into anything else, because we need her there to, provide the secondary commentary. She's got to be running the stream. So
unless
pretty
they get
crucial
a special guest. Yeah, it's a pretty crucial job.
They also this morning drove by the location of the Indianapolis 500. And we're talking about how they need to get themselves in one of the cars, how they probably won't be allowed to drive one, but they would love to be a passenger. And I don't know how to break it to them that I don't think those cars have passenger seats. They're very invested now in getting into the racing game. Courtney seemed extremely confident that she would make it happen. So
if we want to talk about how to make All-Star weekends a little bit more high stakes, a little bit more entertaining, the Stud Budz are really just out there pulling one for us. Live 24 hours a day streaming. They have the stream set up in their hotel room so you can see their little beds next to
their little roommate beds.
Their little beds. They have the matching tracksuits, the matching hair. They're running into Kathy Engelbert on the street.
Court was furious that she was told this morning that she needed to wear business casual, and she pulled up and all the kids were in shorts and stuff, and she's like, I could have been in my sweatsuit. You made me change into my good clothes, and I'm sweating in my good clothes.
Literally. I tweeted a little bit ago that the best thing would it be if the Stud Budz live stream went into the CBA meeting. Because everybody's I would love to see that. I'm yeah, Stud Budz, let's go.
Being a little fly on the wall there.
Oh my God. It's truly going to provide some of the best. Do we watch the actual stream, or do we watch the Stud Budz broadcast of the All-Star game? This is giving, this is the next level of the Burton Tarasi show.
Oh yeah.
Which is like them just being like, if Bird and Taurasi did this, it would be hilarious as well. So I need some sort of like co-pro next March Madness where we have like Bird and Taurasi in the production studio, and then the Stud Buds are just doing the live stream, like
Yes.
walking around the venue kind of
They're
vibe.
the live correspondents for sure.
Exactly. So I really need them to team up because like the collective energy of those four is we need to tap into. But yeah, just like what a hilarious thing to add to this already chaotic weekend. And yeah,
I love it.
hilarious. I
I
love
was
it
I was
so
so
much.
happy to be able to like tune into that this morning. I was doing actual like work, which I know sounds shocking coming from me, but I had that up, and then I have, my three monitors on my computer because that's just who I am as a person. And so one of the monitors had the live stream and getting all sorts of content. I was locked in, they were locked in. It's yeah, the CBA meeting thing is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
obviously that won't actually happen, but that would be insane. That would be so
So
funny. Even
funny.
just to go in there, and if you had to be on mute just to see people's faces,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah,
die.
yeah.
Be so
I just
funny.
want the faces, and I want, like I also want, like, a shot on Kathy, because I want her faces as well, but just oh, man. I mean, I'm excited to see what comes out of that just from a logistical standpoint, but, yeah, I thought about that because they were like, "Oh," like I saw a tweet that was like, "I wish I could be a fly on the wall at the CBA thing." I'm like, "Stud Buds, get in
Speaking
there."
of, Chelsea, did you see Sydney Colson's outfit?
Yes, oh my goodness, I saw that, I was at the airport last night in Cayo Coco, Cuba, and I was waiting to get on my flight, and I had 30 minutes of free Wi-Fi, and so I was going, and I saw Sid Colson, and I was like, "Bro,
Rocking Kathy
oh my
Engelbert's New York skyline
god."
dress, which is so funny, especially considering when you, like, think back to when she first, like, went and tracked down that outfit and,
Yeah,
like, posted a picture in the mall wearing it
yeah,
last year.
she definitely bought it, that's when she bought it,
Yeah, iconic.
and
Uh,
planned it.
and I mean, her stylist, Buddy Brooks, like, incredible. We love her.
Yeah,
She does incredible work, and that is just that's knowing your clients right there, is
yeah,
knowing that, like,
and she
Sid,
looked good, like, it
she
wasn't
did
just a
she
troll, like, she
elevated
looked
it
good.
with the taxi bag, like, she, like, hitched up the front a little bit to give us, like, a little bit of
Give us a
leg
leg.
action, like, I'm here for it. Like, you took the
Hilarious.
joke, and you also made it, like, actual fashion, and, I
Yeah,
mean,
and I
what
want
more
her
could you ask?
I need her to pull it out again. So if Indiana doesn't make the WNBA final, I need Sid Colson to go to the final wearing that dress again. Like, and then I want it to be a different look. I want them to style it again, but just like, oh, too
Just
good.
pull it right back out.
Oh my goodness.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
had to make sure that you were caught up on that one.
Oh, 100%, yeah, and, the Stud Buds also found Sid Colson already on the stream. I saw a clip of that as well.
Naturally.
Naturally, they're going to find Sid Colson, but, oh man, I'm just what a week of I mean, I think this is, like, one of the great things about the WNBA All-Star as well is that, like, they're all such great personalities, and so you have, like, all of these little things like the stream and Sid Colson, and there's gonna be a lot of, like
Sid
and,
doing
like
stand-up
yeah, oh
and
yeah, she's doing her I saw the oh my god, I saw that too. And, they all kind of a lot of people just go to the weekend just to go to the weekend,
yeah,
like, they go to watch and enjoy and whatever. Whereas I don't think you see as much in the NBA, like, if it's not the host city or if they're not, like, in the weekend in some capacity, sometimes they don't go. But what I do feel like a lot of times the WNBA players just go to, like, hang out and, like, be around their teammates and support, so ends up being a lot of fun, but it's just oh man, like, Sid.
Chelsea, I'm gonna hit you with another making sure you're up to date on news
Okay,
that I just remembered based on you talking about the NBA, which is that
okay,
I don't know anything about the NBA. I know, like, the bare minimum, but
okay.
there was a post that went, like, semi-viral on the WNBA subreddit on Reddit, and then someone took a screenshot and put it on Twitter, and
Okay.
it was a picture of Pods, Brandon Pajemski, because
Yes.
he's the number one fan of the Valkyries,
Love that.
And they have how they have all those like pre-made packages that run at halftime of games on WNBA League Pass?
Yeah.
They have one that's him like mic'd up.
Yeah.
And someone posted a still from it and said, "Who is this man?" And the top response was, "That's Pods. He plays for the Golden State Warriors. It's like the Valkyries, but they're all men."
Oh my god. I love when that happens.
I loved it so much. Like,
yeah.
Oh, it was so good. I just needed to make sure that you knew that because it killed me. Because it's the kind of thing that I love to do as a bit, and it warms my heart to see other people doing it, and then to know that there's people who act like that's genuine, like that people just don't know who he is. Frankly, I wouldn't have known who he was if I didn't watch some of the NBA playoffs, because I would literally only watch some of the playoffs, and that's about all I have the attention span for, or the time for.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, that killed me. I loved that.
The other thing
also,
okay.
Go
for it. Go for it.
I was gonna say also in the oh my gosh, wait, we missed the update from BMAC that they were celebrating Courtney's grandma's birthday with grandma on the phone.
Courtney's grandma?
Huge day for grandma birthdays. We've got grandma. We've got Grandma Carolyn here.
Grandma Carolyn.
Shout out to grandma birthdays.
Shout out to grandma birthdays.
Shout out to
friend of the pod, Grandma Carolyn.
Huge friend of the pod. Not even like
number one friend of the pod.
Number one friend of the pod, frankly, at this point. Like very close friend of the pod. Family of the pod.
Family of the pod, literally. Family of the pod, welcome in Toronto anytime. We'll get her up with a beaver tail and a poutine.
Which I know all about now.
Yes. And
the point I was gonna make before I got distracted, gosh, if no one's figured out I have severe ADHD by now, this is gonna be the episode for them.
We're both
speaking of the Valkyries, can't say that I am. I've been sleeping great. This is just who I am as a person. Ileana Rupert is in fact confirmed to be joining after the All-Star break. And I am so excited. I feel like they need that little bit of a boost. They've kind of been struggling a little bit lately, which I think is super valid when you have a really specific play style and you lean into that, and then your opposing teams start kind of figuring it out and start game planning for it. And now you get to throw a whole wrench into opposing teams' planning by having that true center that they've been missing, but true center in like a very versatile sense where like she can play the true center, but she's not limited to just being a back to the basket player. So I am, oh my gosh, just another reason to be so excited for after All-Star weekend. You know, I'm not trying to wish away the weekend, but when we get back to playing, that's going to be absolutely huge.
I've stepped up. They're at the play assistant store. I just saw that
so much. Oh my god, you got a ball.
Shout out Brian for pulling up the Stud Budz stream.
I love that. Those tracksuits do go really hard.
They do.
Color,
I want
it's
them.
so vibrant. We need to see the front because I heard it says Stud Budz across the front.
It does, yeah. You can see it kind of now.
Oh, wow.
I want someone to buy me Play a Society merch.
The bright blue with the pink hair.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
fantastic.
You can't miss them. That's for sure.
Oh my god, and the earrings? I want to know what earrings Court's wearing. Oh my god.
They're really cute. When I was watching earlier. And then, I mean, T is like stepping out with the Louis bag.
Yes. Oh my god, this is so funny.
I love it. So this stream is like truly top tier content.
It really is top tier. Jamie, if we ever go to All-Star together, I want us to get matching tracksuits.
I'm 100% on board for that.
I'm definitely not going to dye my hair to be any particular color, but I will wear it.
What if we did like a temporary hair color?
Okay,
situation? Yeah. Because your hair is kind of dark blonde, and so if we put just like a slight purple tint in your hair, it would match mine.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay,
we're gonna do it up.
Done.
I'm promising a lot of things this week. I'm promising to wear tracksuits with you. I've promised to tattoo the Raptors paint logo on me if they win more than 50 games.
Yeah.
I may have been a few mojitos deep when I tweeted.
I was wondering about that. But look.
No, so like for those of you who don't follow men's basketball, NBA Paint, which is like a Twitter account, they made a Raptors logo, which is like just a hilarious little
They've
dinosaur.
crossed over into the W too. They did one for the links and stuff. So.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so then the Raptors Twitter account put that as their profile picture. And ever since they did, they've been undefeated at Summer League. And so now everybody's saying, oh my God, we need to keep the Raptors logo. And so me, being a few mojitos deep on a Cuban beach a few days ago, decided that I was going to tweet that if the Raptors official Twitter account kept that as their profile picture for the entire season and the Raptors win 50 or more games, that I would get the tattoo of the NBA paint symbol. And a lot of people are with me, though. We might be getting a group tattoo up here in Toronto. So, but they have to keep it the whole season. So it's on them.
That honestly, that might be your opt out. Like that might be just your little back door, just in case.
And they need to win 50 games, which is we'll see if that happens.
I mean, if that happens, then you'll be so happy that
but then they also need to keep the paint, like the paint. Right. It's So anyway, I'm just out here promising stuff. That who knows
as we were asked online, you were discussing pitching Toronto for All-Star, and my point was I feel like 1 year to prepare for going up to Canada might be a little short. I'm super on board with it.
We've had 3 WNBA Canada games now.
Yes, that is true. That is true. But I feel like, well, okay, but think about it this way. Okay. It's going to be the inaugural season. And so you have all of that excitement and all of that hype. And then you can give it like another little boost of in year 2, if you host All-Star Weekend. It like just kind of keeps the hype moving.
True.
Keeps it alive.
I also don't think that logistically it could work because Toronto is hosting. Not just even with the Tempo. Like I think because the Tempo is playing next year for their first season. FIFA World Cup is going to be here in Toronto, and there's just like a few other things. I mean, Jays are playing in the summer. The CFL plays here, like the Canadian Football League. The soccer is here. The soccer, LOL, MLS. And the Northern Super League, the Toronto, the Canadian Soccer League now is playing. There's just a lot going on, plus FIFA. So I don't think Toronto's going to be like, let's add another thing to that mix right in the summer, like right when FIFA's happening and all of that. But that just kind of popped into my mind. But okay, now that we're talking about next year hosting the All-Star Game, there have been reports online that they're talking about Vegas hosting the WNBA All-Star Game again next year. And that would be their 4th time hosting in 8 years. And I'm like, that makes no sense to me. It makes sense in the way that I think that the W is trying to like co-brand their All-Star Weekend with Summer League, which I don't think is right.
I can't roll my eyes hard enough, frankly.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, I get that some people would be a little convenient, but also like, ugh. Like
for more people, it's not like you're then just like you're talking about with like competition for resources, attention, hotels, like housing, hotels, all that. It's like, let it be its own thing. We don't need the cosign of the NBA. Like that's my whole thing is like, I think it's cool that Pods is a huge fan, but like he's genuinely a fan and he's genuinely engaged and like knows the players and stuff. Yeah. But it doesn't need to be all about him. Like he doesn't need to be the face of the franchise. In the same way, the WNBA does not need to be trying to tie themselves to the NBA Summer League. Like if people want to go out of their way to support and be there, that's great because there's plenty of people in the NBA related to the NBA that have a lot of, engagement and respect with the WNBA, but we don't need to like bend over backwards trying to appeal to them or their fans. Like the fan bases are not the same and they don't need to be the same. There can be crossover, but it doesn't need to be the same. And so for Vegas, like if no one else is giving a good offer, like that's fine. Like good for them that they're willing to put up, the opportunity, the investment, the resources, whatever. But
it's hard to believe that no other franchise is doing that. You have New York, who just won a championship, who would probably host an amazing All-Star weekend. You have Golden State, who they hosted the NBA All-Star game this year or last year. Anyway, they did that at some point. I think it was this year. Again, great place to host, because now, again, if you want to do that NBA affiliation, whatever, sure, whatever. But that's San Francisco's an amazing city to host something like that. You have, Indiana just hosted this year, but Chicago hosted in 2021. Atlanta would be a fun city to have the All-Star game. I'm sure that team would do really well. Seattle, again, another city that has a lot of WNBA fan base. So there's just and then you have the new cities. You have Toronto, you have Portland, you have New York. I think New York should be top of mind. Why aren't we doing it in New York?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not from New York. I'm not being a homer or anything like that. It's genuinely, they won a championship. They have so much fan investment and hype. They have the resources to do it. It just makes sense. And to have it in Vegas again it would be the third time in 5 years and the fourth time in 8 years that Vegas has hosted the WNBA All-Star game. And at that point,
it would be hard for me to believe that their offer, that everything is so much better, or that no one else is trying, and that it's not primarily because of trying to tie it to the Summer League. And if that's the case, then I'm not on board with that rationale.
No. And even someone had sent me a video of Stewie. I don't know if it was this year at some point. She was talking about how it would be cool if the WNBA All-Star game was in cities that the WNBA wasn't even in.
Nashville. Look at places that had big pitches for expansion teams, and you can kind of gauge interest in that way.
Or even the ones that are or the ones that are going to have teams. You have Philly, Detroit, Cleveland. Toronto and Portland. You have if that could have been this year, you had and then you have Nashville, you have Charlotte, you have Miami, you have
bring it to places that don't have a ton of teams accessible to them, because not gonna go on a tangent about the lack of franchises and investment in the South, but there's a massive population of people very engaged in the WNBA down there, and not a whole lot of teams that are accessible to them. So look into doing an All-Star game down there, expand it a little bit.
Yeah, or in a big college area. I think if you did it in South Carolina and you had all of that would be wild. Or if you had it in New Orleans and you had LSU kind of attached to that. You have, a bunch of other places that I could just name that are great college women's basketball places that you could just again, they've been trying to integrate this hype.
I would much rather spend the time trying to appeal to women's college basketball fans than begging men's basketball fans to acknowledge the WNBA. Let's just be real here. Who do we think is going to be better positioned to be long-term consumers, be engaged, be, again, invested fans? Probably the people who already follow the sport.
Exactly. Yeah. And who are, again, we're trying to strengthen this pipeline between college fans and WNBA fans, which is why they're hosting preseason games in, at various colleges now. And you have these strong fans that are coming because of these really dynamic players that have been coming out of college over the past few years. You have, people that are primed to be top draft picks at these big colleges that you could kind of appeal to those fans. And yeah, I don't know. The other option that I am popping into is the fact that the WNBA and the NBA as companies are trying to globalize a little bit. And I don't know if an international All-Star game, Toronto or / Canada, not really included in that, but an international thing. There's logistics that go into that with travel and how short the WNBA season is. But yeah, there's just so many options other than just regurgitating the same thing over and over in a city that everybody's been to, because again, it's a big basketball, Las Vegas has just kind of been hosting things lately, which obviously has to do with the rise of sports betting and yada yada. But I don't know. I'm at the point where I'm why does everything have to be in Vegas? Why do we want to go to Vegas in July? I don't want to go to Vegas in July. And so, and I get the Aces are a great franchise and they've had great, All-Star games in the past, but it's there are several we're growing in the WNBA. There's now going to be 16 teams. There's going to be 18, whatever. And yeah, there's just so many other options that are equally as good and would provide equally as good experiences for people.
Yeah. And I want to kind of wrap up with just an idea that's been floated. We are not originating this. This was actually kind of pointed out to us this morning when we were chatting with BMAC before our episode. And it goes right along with what we're saying about relating to college basketball fans, kind of tying into those fan bases where you have the opportunity to continue to appeal to these fans and do a lot of really interesting things. This week on Christina Williams' podcast, in case you missed it, not in case you missed the podcast, that's what it's called. Jordan Robinson was on, and they discussed the idea of doing like a shooting stars challenge where it's a current W player, a former W player, and maybe like a college player, because you have the opportunity to do these things with NIL. You know, there's a lot of freedom for players to kind of do what they want to do. And so you could potentially have, maybe it's not officially through the WNBA, maybe it's through a sponsor, but it's alongside All-Star Weekend or something like that. You know, I'm not going to sit here and like flesh out every detail of it, but there's ways that you could also get college athletes involved that are even more effective when you're going into these areas that are more leaning towards being engaged with the college game, because most areas have a college team fairly near them, where most areas do not have a WNBA team near them just because of the amount of franchises that exist. And so, you know, something like that would be really huge. And as we talk about, continuing to grow the game, get people engaged, I feel like there's just a lot of potential opportunity out there that doesn't really seem to be explored. And we're hearing that from players coming out of the CBA negotiations, that they feel like they aren't really being taken seriously enough. And so you just hope that this creativity, this opportunity that is right there for the WNBA right now, it just needs to be taken advantage of better. Like, you can't just do the same old thing and expect that things change without trying. Exactly. And so that's kind of my last little soapbox on the topic. But we've bounced around a whole lot today. This weekend's going to be super, super fun. I can't wait to see what our Her Hoop Stats team has from being there in Indy, being able to kind of keep us updated without being there ourselves. But you, Chelsea, what are you most excited for this weekend?
Ooh, I think I'm just excited to see. I hope that with the whole CBA conversation happening, and it's funny because BMAC is messaging us right now that I'm most excited for sleep, which is a thing. But I think I'm just excited to see like how the players are going to be like a mix of like outspoken, but also like enjoying the hype that they deserve for the growth of the league. I think there's going to be a lot of really important conversations this weekend about, you know, the players and what they deserve and what's going to come out of this meeting with the CBA negotiations. And so I think, I mean, maybe it's like not the most exciting answer, but I think I'm just looking forward to seeing how that develops and like what the players are able to talk to the league about, but also how they are going to use their like leverage with this event and the public and the fan base to be able to further like, you know, push these negotiations and get what they deserve. And of course, I mean, I think it goes without saying, but obviously we should say it, is that, you know, we support the players 100% in anything that they are doing in their negotiations, whether that ends up being, you know, a work stoppage or whatever. Like, they got to do what they got to do, and we're here to support them, of course. And so, yeah, I think that's something. We're at a very pivotal point right now in women's sports, and the WNBA has always been a leader in that when it comes to pushing the envelope for women's athletes and women in general. I think when they succeed, we all succeed as well. And so, yeah, I look forward to seeing how that develops this weekend.
Absolutely. Well, there's a ton to look forward to. We'll certainly be following along just like everyone else at home. Excited to see what we get coming out of there. Like I said, make sure that you are following along with all of our Her Hoop Stats social media profiles. There's going to be different content going out there. We're anywhere you want to find us: Blue Sky, Twitter, X, whatever, Instagram, all that fun stuff. That's at Her Hoop Stats. You can find each of us online. I'm at JSteyz, JSTEYZ. Chelsea's at Chelsea Leite. And we'll be back next week. We'll recap a little bit of All-Star, but then we'll be ready to hit the ground running, get into this home stretch, the second half of the season.
So fast.
So much still ahead of us. So much still to discuss, but we certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, make sure that you're following along with all of the content coming out of All-Star Weekend, and we will talk to you soon.